describe me, yeah? This is a tough thing.
Young, rugged, handsome. it was a biography right there.
Awkward, and not just in this instance.
Fussy.
Autonomous.
Library card?
Curious. I'm trying to figure out what this is all about.
Bookish.
Quisqueya?
Lovable.
Unafraid.
I am a New Yorker. I like to read a book again. Favorite authors, John le Carré, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. There's a whole series of, have the anthology of all of his spy novels, and they sit all together in paperback, but make a nice tableau together. And every time I walk by, I say, I'm going to start reading those again. The amount I have to read January 1st is quite enormous. My mother insisted that my sister and I wait for my father to come home for dinner, and so we always ate as a family. We would go around the table each day and talk about what we did that day. And one of the things that came up was philanthropy. Philanthropy was always part of my world, so I just assumed it's part of everybody's world. To me, libraries are people, not books, and I always thought that the librarian who, when I had to do a report, would steer me in the right direction was the most important thing.
When I was very young, my mother read books to my brother and me. We read things like Little House on the Prairie, of course, and The Yearling, and Gulliver's Travels, and the poems of Edward Lear. She didn't like childish things, I mean, everything that she read was of the kind that could interest her too, and that made it very nice. I have no idea. Frankly, when I started writing Gilead, I was amazed to find that I was writing from a male point of view. I simply thought I would not do that. It was not in my repertory, And then suddenly here was this man speaking with whom I felt entirely comfortable. One of the things that I try to encourage students to understand is that in their brains there are many mansions, and they will have no idea unless they are open to whatever suggestion comes to them. I have a research project, so I might run away from home and scroll myself away in the New York Public Library.
Without any English, without any sense of the culture I was arriving into, I'm not sure I would have made it had it not been for my elementary school librarian. Nobody in my school spoke Spanish. I didn't speak any English. And yet she felt absolutely the responsibility, the obligation to be sure that I understood exactly what this place was and what I could do in this place. I'm a member of the African diaspora. I'm a Caribbean kid. I'm someone from a country the United States invaded a couple times. I'm an immigrant. I had a sense that storytelling tools that I was learning in school and that I was seeing on TV were not capable of sort of spanning the enormous histories and experiences which I came out of. What's really most rewarding about being a writer is that I get to spend my time being a reader. My real love is reading. For me, writing was really a way that I concocted a scheme to stay in books for as long as I live.
I do get feedback from young people, and I'm always surprised because I would think that the kind of stuff I write is excruciatingly old-fashioned to young people. I'm always really thrilled, or that may be too big a word, delighted when anybody under the age of 50 likes what I do. If I'd been born in the digital age, it absolutely would have affected my process. I love the ideas behind the digital age. I love gadgets. I love inventions of that sort. I would love to have been born 40 years later, 50 years later. I always want to tackle something I haven't done before in numerous ways, in terms of style, in terms of subject matter, in terms of theatricality. It's worrisome when you start to write something and you feel you've written it before. It's very dispiriting, and it's also very frightening to try something you haven't written before, but I'd rather be frightened than dispirited.
so many important things happened to me in the library. It was there that I engaged in my first act of rebellion from my parents. I would sneak in the library and take the books without checking them out because I wanted to be free to make discoveries without having any adult tell me that was allowed or too hard for me or too wicked. I think that probably the biggest thing is that it's read at all, because the subjects that animate me most aren't things that most people really relish engaging in. When you're writing about poverty, you're never going to change the fundamental power equations in the society, so you're really just making changes in the margins. But I think that if more people in power have a better and more blooded understanding of what it's like to be on the losing edge of the 21st century's global economy, I think it makes a sideways difference, and a sideways difference is better than none at all. What's happening to this incredible civic space where the scholars and the homeless could get together in the same room and do whatever they do? That experience of the library was so profound in my childhood, and I fear it's going to be lost. Being in the library makes you aim a little higher. It makes you read a little harder. It makes you pick out the book that may not be the easiest, but may end up enriching your life in the most unexpected way. I don't know what it is about a library, but it's got that.